Hello and welcome to my guide on Neuvillette. I'm going to go through all of his base stats and skills and explain them to you, and then I'll give you my opinions on what his best artifacts, weapons, and team comps will be. So as you'll see, for his base stats, the main stat that matters for him is HP and crit damage, and luckily those are the two stats that go up as you level. So at level 90, you have a base HP of 14,600, and your ascension stat is crit damage, so you get an additional about 28.4% added on to your amount that you already have. On screen now is all the materials needed to max out just his level. If you would like to read his normal attack description in depth, you can pause the video now to do so. However, I will just simplify it by saying that he does damage that scales off of attack with his normal attacks just by tapping the button. He can charge it for 4 seconds to release a massive Hydro Blast that scales off of his max HP, and his skill also helps him proc those faster. On screen is the comparisons between level 1 and level 9 of the normal attack. His skill does 1 tick of hydro damage to enemies within an area and spawns 3 source water droplets that your normal attack laser can suck up to cast instantly. Absorbing those source water droplets will also heal him for 48% of his max HP for all 3 of them. Here are also the multipliers for the skill. Neuvillette's burst deals AoE hydro damage as well as 2 more ticks of hydro damage that all scales off of his max HP, as well as spawning 6 of the source water droplets in an area in front of him. And here are the multipliers from level 1 to 9 for the burst. Here are all the materials needed to max out all of his talents. Just divide each of the numbers by 3 to get per each talent. Now his passives are where his kit really takes off. His first passive affects the damage of his Hydro Beam, giving it 10% more damage, 25% more damage, or 60% more damage depending on how many stacks he has. You get up to 3 stacks by having your party members trigger 3 separate Hydro reactions that are different from one another. So as a baseline, you'll want to run him in a party that has completely different elements from each other to get all 3 of those stacks. His second passive gives him up to 30% hydro damage bonus, depending on each percent above 30% max HP he is. The max buff for that caps out once he's at around 80% of his max HP, and then his final passive just lets him swim faster. Now his Constellations are where things get crazy, just like every other DPS character. So his C1 will make it so you need 1 less stack to trigger the full effect, so you can run double Hydro to give him extra HP bonus, and he'll have resistance to interruption, so you won't have to run a shielder with him. His C2 will make it so that each stack of his first passive gives him 14% increased crit damage on his charged attack, up to a maximum of 42%. His C3 increases his normal attack level by 3. His C4 makes it so that once every 4 seconds when he's healed, it'll spawn a source water droplet. His C5 levels up his burst by 3. And C6 is the real powerhouse. With his C6, every source water droplet consumed increases the duration of the hydro pump by 1 second, and 2 extra beams will also shoot out once every 2 seconds, which deal 10% of Neuvillette's max HP as hydro damage. The damage also counts it as part of his charge attack. So on screen now, we have a weapon tier list for Neuvillette that I created. Pretty much his best in slot is going to be his premium weapon that you can buy from the weapon banner. His top second best is the crit battle pass weapon, because the passive gives extra crit and HP, which is exactly what he needs. And his third best weapon in total is going to be a free to play weapon in the Project Amber. Anything else after that, you can just put any crit based thing, HP base scaling, anything can go after the Project Amber. But Project Amber is your go-to if you don't have the first two options. For artifacts, you're going to want to go with the Marechaussee Hunter, because since he's constantly losing HP and healing it, he makes incredible use of the crit buff of the 4-piece passive. And it also increases normal and charge attack damage with the 2-piece, so it's just made for him. Now, if you don't have a full set of that yet, you can use any 2-piece passives together that give you either Hydra damage or HP. Just focus on the best substats that you have out of those. The substats you're going to want to be looking for are HP percent and crit stats and some energy recharge, so he gets his burst up often. Now for teams, you can pretty much go anything that has long-lasting application of their element, because Neuvillette likes to be on field for a long time since he's a hyper carry. Two general go-to teams would be Neuvillette Hyper Bloom or Neuvillette with Kazuha and an offensive flex and a defensive flex. So for offensive flex, you can have like Fischl, Nahida, anybody that just has offensive elemental application. And for defensive flex, it's anybody that can pretty much give you a shield, like Zhongli, Layla, and also apply their element really easily for a long time. Now, his best possible team without C1 would be Neuvillette, Raiden, Nahida, Zhongli, since all of their skills last a long time and can quickly switch between them to re-up them, and then Neuvillette can continue blasting with all of his damage. However, if you have C1, you can run double Hydro, so his best team then becomes Neuvillette, Kazuha, Raiden, because her electro application lasts a long time, and Child or Tartaglia, because his passive adds another level to your C1 and Hydro resonance to give you 25% more HP, but you never switch into Tartaglia. Here's a DPS check on Masanori with the full team setup that I like to use personally. So as you can see from my setup, I'm hitting 22k hits on average, and occasionally the Dendro burning reaction gives him a pyro aura that I vaporize off of for about 64k every 3 to 4 seconds with this setup. Now, Neuvillette is so crazy in this abyss that he can actually solo almost all of it if he's properly built, as shown in this clip. Now at this point I was still working on my Neuvillette, so it's not perfect, but this abyss has a lot of elemental creatures in it and enemies that give themselves elements, so Neuvillette alone can proc his first passive, so he can get the full damage bonus.
Settle down.
Now throughout this, not only was I making sure to use my source water droplets only for damage, I was also making sure to hit them when I can, whenever I need to heal, to prepare if there was any other stronger enemies to fight next. Now also during this, since I don't have C1, I don't have the resistance to interruption that you would normally get from it. That's why I'm getting knocked around sometimes and have to use a lot more stamina than needed in order to be able to kite around the enemies. But if I had C1, I'd just be able to face tank it all. Now, thank you so much for watching till the end. This isn't exactly like a super in-depth guide, obviously, but I just wanted to make this because I pulled for Neuvillette, got them, and really enjoyed them. So I wanted to show other people how to like properly like make use of them, so you're not wasting any part of this kit. So yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you like this, and be sure to tune in for more videos every week.